everyone and welcome. It is the 9th of October and it's beautiful. We're in daylight savings time here in Melbourne and you're joining us on the Drive Home webinar with the RoB Academy. And I'm Glenis Gassmann from More Customers, More Profits. And I work with business owners who are serious about growing their business, tripling their leads and doubling their profits. With me tonight, I have Phil. Phil East from Profit Improvers. He's a panelist. He's our regular panelist. How are you, Phil?
Sensational. Thanks, Glenis.
Yeah, excellent. Phil resides in Gippsland, and Phil works with families around coaching and actually taking businesses up at least $1 million or more, don't you?
Well, certainly. Just help them get a few more dollars in their pocket, make it easier for them to make some more varied lifestyle choices.
Excellent. And we also have tonight joining us as a guest, we've got Nafisa from StudioHawk. Hey, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, really great. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Nafisa is going to be talking to us about effective SEO tactics and strategies for small to medium-sized businesses. It's going to be very exciting. But before we get into that, I do have to tell you why we do these podcasts, because we are on here every Wednesday night from 5:15 to 6 o'clock. And I do apologize, we were a couple of minutes late today. Integrity is important to us, so I do want to say sometimes technology just doesn't work. And we have to deal with that. So look, we're doing this because part of the Referrals Over Breakfast network is we have a lot of great talent in there, and we like to promote our talent out there, and we also want to share it with whoever wants to listen about some tips, strategies around different areas of business, because in business is a big beast and there's lots of different parts to it. And so we have got some specialist experts and we've got Referrals Over Breakfast in Ballarat as well as in South Melbourne. And between those two places, we have some experts in different areas, and they come on board and they share with us, you know, some tips, some horror stories. Phil loves to hear the horror stories. And we basically have a great night just having a bit of a chat about how we can improve businesses in different ways. And tonight we've got Nafisa sharing it with us, because she knows a lot about SEO, right? I think, I don't know, Phil, if you've ever been to a Referrals Over Breakfast networking meeting where Nafisa has presented, but she encapsulates everybody in, and she always has all the questions asked of her at the end. It's amazing, right? Yeah, she's top knowledge. She knows the stuff. So for everyone that's not joining us on the call tonight, thank you. I know we have a number of attendees in. I want to just have a listen to what Nafisa has to say. If you've got any questions, please put them in the Q&A, because we'll be stopping and we'll have a few questions along the way, all right? So welcome and thank you for joining us on the drive home. And of course, we have got Chris as well. Sorry, Chris. We have Chris who's literally driving home and he loves to listen to us on a Wednesday night as well. So thanks for joining us, Chris. I know that you enjoy listening to what we have a chat about. You may not agree with sometimes, but at least you listen. All righty. So firstly, Phil, how's your week been?
Oh, my week's been unbelievable, Glenis, and I'll tell you, I know how important SEO is, but I'm a little bit not real up with it, and my head's spinning a bit with keywords and backlinks and meta tags and optimization and all those sorts of jargon that surrounds SEO, and I'm really hoping that Nafisa can sort me out with that, because I'm in a little bit of a spin at the minute.
She might demystify all of those things for us. What do you think, Nafisa?
I reckon we'll have a great 40 minutes of talking about SEO for sure.
Excellent. Well, tell us a bit about you, how you got into SEO. Why is SEO important to you that you want to spend, you know, your week doing this? Yeah.
So my journey with StudioHawk started in August last year, and I was basically brought on board as an intern to start with, and I was put through some really intensive training with SEO. I originally was looking for something in digital marketing, just dipped my toes in, and I came across the GM that hired me. And they basically said, hey, we have an internship opportunity here. If you'd like to take it, you're more than welcome to. And the rest, as they say, is history. And when I say intensive training, I actually mean intensive training. My brain could have exploded.
Sounds like what Phil's doing right now.
Yeah. Trust me, now that I've gone through it, I can actually explain it a lot better now. So for me, not having a digital marketing background made it a lot easier to understand SEO, because I understood it as some of the clients that I'm servicing now. So it's very easy for me to be able to talk to them about it and speak their language and basically take them through SEO as simply as possible.
Yeah.
And not getting caught up in the technical side and the technical jargon, as Phil put it. Yeah, so I've been doing SEO for just over a year. And the best part of it is learning more about business from the small and medium businesses that I service. So I went in with absolutely no knowledge of how businesses work and how SEO works. So I've learned over the past year both of them. And my heart goes out to a lot of the small and medium businesses, because you're wearing multiple hats in one go. And that's what brings me to work every single day, because I can take one of those hats off and make life so much easier for them and make their online presence worthwhile, so that they can have a little bit more time freedom once the campaign starts picking up and actually providing them results. They can actually either grow, or they can take a little bit of a step back in their business and relax a little bit. So either one of those outcomes is perfect for me. If someone comes in and says, hey, we've added an employee to our staff, to our repertoire, because we can grow now that we have more online presence, fantastic. That's a massive win for me.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so with all of this knowledge, so you've got a lot of knowledge over the last 12 months, 14 months in SEO, which is really great to see. And I know StudioHawk is a widely nationally recognized SEO company, and you're a great bunch of young entrepreneurs that are all together making a difference and understanding the back end of the digital world, right? So for the SEO, for the average small business owners out there who are not under 30, maybe most of the business owners that are out there who have been in business for 2 or 3 years are typically 35 plus, right? So they, like you said, have got their hats in many places, and they know that everyone talks about SEO, and they know that, should I be doing it, or is this just another bright shiny object that I've got to duck, I've got to duck because I don't want to do it. So I want you to share with us what SEO does, what's the advantage of that for a small business owner, and what's the likely results, like, if you could talk about a return on investment, that would be great. Yeah.
So I'll start with what SEO actually means and simplify that as much as possible. SEO basically is search engine optimization, and search engine in this case we're going to be referring to as Google, because 95% of all worldwide searches go through Google itself. So that's where people go into search first.
Yeah.
What happens when you type up a search, you're probably going to put in a keyword that you're looking for, or a query that you're looking for. And I'll give you an example of this. So I would say nail salon brand. That's considered a keyword or a search query. For a small or medium-sized business that is a nail salon and is based in Brand, coming up in the first couple of pages is really, really important. That's where SEO's role comes in play. So what we do is we optimize the website to the point where we can get the website ranking within those first 2 pages. Ideally, we want to rank within the first page and within the first 5 search results. That's where your biggest advantage is against all your competitors. And with 63,000 searches happening per second globally, I reckon being able to get traffic through your website from a search result can bring you a lot more freedom in terms of chasing leads and bringing in more foot traffic to your business.
Yeah.
A web presence is super important in that sense, and ideally you want to move from wherever you're ranking, say page 5 or page 6, as close to page 1 as possible. And that's basically the role of an SEO.
Yeah, so ranking on page 1 or 2 within the first 5 searches. That's what I picked up there. Yeah. Yeah.
The way search behavior has changed over time, people are not going to go past page 2 as much. About 75% of the conversion happens within page 1. So 75% of people who search are not going to move past page 1. Maybe a little bit mistaken with the numbers here, because the numbers I have are a little bit dated. They're about a year old. But if you compare the numbers with that, the amount of searches that happen within Melbourne alone or within Australia alone are massive. And what you want to do is attract as many of those users to your website first before it goes to your website.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah, and a few elements go into SEO. I'm going to try and make it as uncomplicated as possible.
Thank you. That would be really great.
I'm not going to go into 3 things that I spoke about in my presentation at RoB, but I'm going to simplify it to this. The 2 factors that Google will look for, and I'm going to bring this up throughout the webinar today, is Google will give preference to websites that are relevant and reliable. Now, reliability comes from the website being error-free and secure and having a few backlinks coming through other websites. Relevancy will come from having high-quality, comprehensive content on the website.
So sorry, Nafisa, I'm finding it a bit difficult to hear you on some occasion. I think your mic, there's something to do with your mic. Can you speak up a little bit more about relevant and reliable? Yeah.
Are you able to hear me well now?
Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah. So can you just tell us what the components of relevant are and what the components of reliability are?
Perfect. So what I mentioned earlier was Google will give preference to websites that are relevant and reliable. Now, reliability comes from Google is going to look at your website and see if it's technically sound.
Yeah.
With no errors, nothing broken within it, you're not going to be able to see all these broken errors and technical issues surface level. If you look at a website, you're not going to be able to analyze it in one go with your eye level. This has to go to an app or certain things that we use to identify those errors. But the best part of this is maintaining a clean website is a lot easier than you can think. So if you are starting with a clean slate website, the biggest thing you need to remember is if you're going to delete a page, remember where you've linked it to within the website. That's how you're gonna remove a lot of your broken internal link problems just by keeping an eye on that. And addressing small and medium businesses, I'm going to assume that your pages are not going to be more than 15 to 20.
How many?
15 to 20.
15 to 20. Yeah.
Surely you can keep an eye on page deletions and broken links in that case. There are a few other technical things that can come in play, and what can benefit people hearing this now, so a small and medium business, would be an SSL certificate. Now this is technical, but it's borderline reliability as well. So Google is going to go into your website and see if it's secure. Now, how it does that is if you've acquired an SSL certificate and it appears as HTTPS instead of HTTP, if it's implemented correctly. And what this says to Google is that your website is secure, which means you can serve my website to your users. And it feeds into reliability, where Google goes, your website is reliable, I'm going to serve you to my users. What Google is trying to do is trying to be the best search engine in the world. So their users are going to come first. Google's not going to serve anything that's not secure to their users. So if you have a lot of technical problems in your website, Google's not going to serve you as a search result to its users.
Got it. Now, do you have, I get that, we can't see the broken links from an eye, you know, we're not smart enough to see that. You have some tools that can be used. And I know, like, do small business owners, can they get access to those tools You know, is there a fee, or are they out there in the ethos for us to run against it? Or, you know, do we have to get, you know, can we get you to run something like that?
Yeah. So a couple of options are available here. If a business were to invest in grabbing a subscription to an application, I would recommend getting SEMrush. So that's SEMrush. Now that will give you an audit of the entire website, and it'll give you the issues based on priority. So it'll give you errors, it'll give you warnings, and it'll give you notices. And you can basically just skim through those and start fixing those if you have enough web proficiency. The other thing you can use is called Screaming Frog. Now that'll spit out the entire list of URLs on your website. This one gets a little bit more technical, but what you want to look for is, if you're going to look for broken links, you just need to look for the code within the spreadsheets that Screaming Frog will spit out. And you're looking for 404. 404 means broken.
Yeah, I had some of those 404s come up on my screen sometimes.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like to eye level. In the front end, it'll direct you to a page that says 404. Now, how to find those is where it gets a little bit tricky. So SEMrush does that really, really easily. And for our clients, before we bring them on board, we usually vet them and see if they even need to invest in SEO or not. And you're more than welcome to shoot an email my way and say, hey, can I get an audit of my website really quickly and see if I have anything that I need to fix.
And what's your email address for that?
Nafisa@studiohawk.com.au.
So Nafisa, N-A-F-A, you say, at studiohawk.com.au?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you for that.
Other tools that we use majorly throughout the day, and we rely on Screaming Frog a lot when it comes to massive websites with URLs that we need to map out. Now, that's where SEO gets technical, and I'm not going to go any more into detail with that one.
No. I think you're already like, I don't know, how's your head going, Phil?
Yeah, my head's going pretty well. I'm taking some good notes. I'm going all right, but the more I go on, the more I think I should hire someone to do this, Nafisa. What should we look at when we're looking to hire someone to look after our SEO?
What you're going to be looking at. All right. So ideally, you'd want to be able to have an open communication gate with them. So it's as much as possible, try to keep it to either a phone call or email based, something a little bit more comprehensive. And what you're looking for is tailor-made audits. So a person has done the audit for you. Yes, SEMrush is going to give us all the issues that are there, and Screaming Frog is going to point it out to us, but someone in human form should have gone through it and given you recommendations. So try not to keep it too automated. Yes, SEO can be automated, but there is always a human element going into it.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
The human element is going to come up because I'll be going through a few tips and tricks on content, and Phil, your brain's going to come back to normal. This is really stuff.
So if I hire someone to do SEO, is that something that's just ongoing, or is it something that I have to do all the time, or do it quarterly, or what's the go there?
All right. So within marketing, SEO is one of the few channels that need to be an ongoing strategy. And the reason why you do that is because if you do stop SEO, part of what we do in an SEO campaign is backlink acquisition. And I'll go into a little bit of detail after I've touched up on content, because I think.
Sorry, what was that called?
What was that called?
Backlink acquisition.
Right.
Back-end acquisition.
Backlinks.
Yeah.
So I'll touch up on that after content, because I feel like content will be something people can get a lot of value out of. But backlink acquisition, if you stop that, you're basically stopping authority going into your website, which is what makes SEO an ongoing strategy and a long-term strategy at that. So it takes a fair bit of while for a website, which is, say, if you start a website from a clean slate, it's going to take you about 6 to 9 months to start to see results, because that's how long it takes for Google to actually start crawling and indexing you for relevancy.
So 6 to 9 months
Exactly.
for results, yeah?
Exactly. So yes, so SEO is a long-term strategy and an ongoing one added. There are a few other tools in digital marketing that you can use that are campaign-based. We're not specialists in those fields, so I'm not in liberty of talking about those specific ones, but I would say search engine marketing, which is AdWords, social media marketing, that entire lot. So you can have calendar-based campaigns that can serve that side of your marketing strategy.
Okay. So
Now, I just want to ask you a question, Nafisa, and I'm probably throwing a little bit of, fire to the pan here, because you know me, I'm very results driven. Okay. So investing in SEO for 6 to 9 months with no results just really doesn't cut it with me. Is there a way that small businesses can start to see like that they are getting more awareness? Like if they're paying someone to do SEO or whatever, how can they start seeing that it is working, you know?
One of the best ways to track SEO progress, even if we give ourselves a very conservative goal of 6 to 9 months, is seeing traffic go up month to month. So the more visible you are online, or the more visible you are on search results, the more traffic you can attract to your website. So seeing traffic increases, that's one of the ways to track it. And another thing to track is obviously where your keywords are, where you're ranking for specific keywords. So identifying the keywords that your website should be ranking for and tracking the progress of that from 1 month to another. So if you see,
and do people get that through Google Analytics? Do they? Is that how they do that, or is that something different? Yeah.
So the traffic, we get it tracked through Google Analytics, and keyword positioning, we'll do it manually and through SEMrush.
Okay.
Just to make sure it's as accurate as possible. There are possibilities of keyword positions getting skewed, which is why we double check with a couple more apps as opposed to just doing it manually and staying with that result. But ideally, you'd want to track your keyword positioning as well. Yeah,
got it. And you do all that as all bundled package and stuff like that at StudioHawk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's all part of the campaign. Like if someone is to come on board and not know what SEO is, we're going to try and simplify it as much as possible. We basically word everything as we're talking to a client.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sure.
One thing I wanted to
before you go on there, Nafisa, just because I'm still a bit slow, but I was on the same path as Glenis there before, so I'm glad she jumped in and asked that question. but what I've gauged out of that also is that if you've got to test and measure it as you go along, there's also then no way to predict the success of it before you start, is there? Or
sorry.
So there's no way so I can't get a strategy for my SEO and have a pretty good prediction that that's going to be successful? Is that, or do I just test and measure as I go?
Now, the test and measure has already been done for you with all the research that we come with as StudioHawk. So collectively, we have enough people to come into a room and say, we're going to put this strategy in place for client XYZ. Now, what a client needs to remember is for an SEO campaign to be successful, and there is no two ways about this. If you do feed all 3 elements of SEO, there is no way your campaign is not going to be successful. So if your technical aspect is on point, if your backlinks are on point, and if your content is on point, your overall SEO health will improve considerably.
Okay. Technical backlinks content.
I'm going to say there's a write me downer.
Yes. Questions that come up with technical and backlinks, they get a little bit more on the technical side of SEO. So technical on-sites and backlinks, that needs a lot more explanation. Things that a small and medium business owner themselves can help with would be content. And another one is optimizing their location listing. So Google My Business listing is one way of improving your local SEO.
Google Maps. What about Google My Business? Is that part of SEO?
Yes. Definitely. It forms part of local SEO, and that's basically the fourth element if a business has a physical location or if a business services a specific area.
Okay.
So you can grab a listing if you have a physical location or if you're servicing a specific area.
Yeah.
And with a few businesses, like say a medium sized business that has 2 or 3 retail stores, they can have 3 different Google My Business locations pointing towards the website as well. And you can optimize that accordingly.
Okay.
All right. I'll go into detail with both content and GMVs, but I'll have your questions coming and I'll answer them as we go.
I've got a couple of questions now. Can I ask them now? From we have Joan. Hi, Joan. We've got Joan joining us again. She's just about been on every podcast, so she must like what we're doing, Phil. She's written down there, how long does SEO take?
SEO conservatively, as we tell our clients, will take about 6 to 9 months to produce results.
6 to 9 months, yep.
Substantial results.
Okay, substantial results.
Yeah, that's a conservative number. We have seen results between 4 to 6 months.
Yep.
But we do not try to promote that. Because
you don't promote that. You'd be very conservative. I like that. I like that conservative approach.
Conservative is key because we need to remember that the time period that we give our clients is based on a clean website. Now, if the website is not clean and if it's not healthy, then our work increases. So
it's a little bit like the human body, really, isn't it? You got to cleanse yourself out to everything to.
Oh, right, geez, huh?
Very much that. Well done. That's a great analogy. I'm actually going to write that down. I've started training again, by the way.
Yeah.
Into the gym right after this webinar, actually, funnily enough. And yes, you have no idea how much I agree with that. So getting my body to a really good state overall is only going. The results are going to start showing way after that.
Absolutely. I've been drinking green juices for a month and my skin is really good. So, and Phil tells me that he wants to have 2 less buckle sizes on his belt by Christmas time or something. So, yeah, I think. So I think it's great, you know, that's the analogy I've got. You got to clean it all out and you got to, you know, and then you're primed ready for performance, right?
You're not going to see any result when you have that first glass of green juice in day 1.
No.
And it's the same analogy that applies to SEO.
Yeah. Got to be in for the long haul. Exactly. Now, I have another question just quickly, and it's a good one, and it's about content, all right? So I've got Selena. She's another regular that joins us on Wednesday afternoon. Thank you for Selena. She's saying, how often should I blog? All right. So that's probably going to come into your content stuff, is it?
Awesome. I'll start with not answering that question. I'm going to bring up a few content-related things, and then I'll get to the answer to that question.
Okay, well, just can you answer it for Selena when you do answer it? Yep.
So content, and in particular blogs, are important because you're basically trying to produce comprehensive information for Google's users. Now, this is where relevancy comes in play. The thing that I said at the beginning between reliability and relevancy, this is relevant. Yep. Now, as someone within the industry, like we'll take, for example, again, I'm going to go into the beauty salon thing and say, for a beauty salon to be relevant on Google, through Google's eyes, for Google's users, that website should be publishing beauty industry related articles. And you do that in the form of blogs because your website can exist with all your service pages already fleshed out, and you need a source or you need some sort of outlet where you can produce all your articles.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of answering Selena, was it?
Yes, Selena.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How often should you blog? Ideally, we recommend our clients to blog on a fortnightly basis. It's more as a signal to Google, depending on how often Google crawls that specific website. It could be anywhere between a week and 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Be notified of how many times you're updating your website and how often you're posting more content. So ideally once a fortnight. I have worked with enough small and medium businesses to understand how difficult running a business is. For me, a minimum of one a month is also acceptable. It just has to be super comprehensive. It has to follow a good set of keywords, and it has to always be relevant to the business. So a beauty salon should not go and write about database research.
Yeah, can I ask a question for myself? I blog once a week.
Fantastic.
I just have that in my diary, and I just think about, I know the themes that I want to write about every month.
But
And then I just break that down, and I do it once a week. Is that all right?
Yes. It's
and
fine.
what's the size? How big should it be? Because some of them are about, I don't know, they're more than 300 words, and some of them are about 800 words. Is there a difference? Yeah.
Look at it from an SEO strategy perspective. Now, if it's an article that reflects news, it just has to be more than 200 words for Google to not consider it as thin content. But if you're going via SEO strategy, and if you're targeting keywords, the more comprehensive, the better. So I'd recommend 800 to 1,000 words for those targeted ones.
Wow. Okay.
So if, say, an SEO agency gives you a topic to write about, or if you've done keyword research about a specific target keyword that carries a high search volume, then that's the one you want to write a more comprehensive blog post about. The news and stuff, yes, fantastic, because that's something that you can use to promote on social media and bring other channels in. But blogs from an SEO perspective, 800 to 1,000 words.
So I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but I've just started this week part 1 of a 4-part series because I thought it was too big. Maybe I should do of a 3-part series and make them bigger. Anyway, I'll go and count the words.
And there's a really cool website that does it for you. It's called wordcounter.net. And we use that really quickly if we need to do a quick check of what our clients have been up to. So I'll just do a copy paste of their most recent blog. I'll chuck it in there. It'll give me the word count. I'll give them a call and be like, why did you post this? This is only 400 words.
Okay, got it. What name was that site again?
Word counter?
Wordcounter.net.
That'll do a quick one for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nafisa, Anna's just on the line. G'day, Anna. She's just asking, can you just back up over the 200 word purpose again? What was the reason for the shorter?
Yeah.
The shorter post?
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a shorter post. Like, say, if it's not targeted for an SEO purpose, a page should not be less than 200 words. Less than 200 basically looks like thin content to Google.
Right.
Thin content.
Thin content. Yes.
And what does Google do with thin content?
It sees you as irrelevant and unreliable.
Okay.
It basically says there's not enough information on this page for my users.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, I like a bit of spy stuff, Nafisa. There's a bit of this jargon caught my eyes. Black hat SEO. Now, is that legal or ethical, or what's that?
Ethical SEO is the only SEO you should be doing.
Oh, okay. What about black hat? What's all that about? Is it exciting as it sounds?
Black hat is where you do, so two ways of doing, okay, I'm going to drill it down to only 2. There's several ways of doing black hat tactics. One is keyword spamming. So having way too many of those high volume keywords just sitting in your footer link.
Yeah.
And spamming it all through your entire page. So your page has to be written for a user. It shouldn't be written for SEO. It has to be written for a user with SEO in mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the second thing is black hat backlinks, where a lot of I'm not going to say a lot of agencies, there are people who outreach and try and acquire really low quality PBNs, or PBNs are not necessarily all bad, but it's in that style basically. So they bring you 100 a month and they're all irrelevant, they're low authority. Google will pick up on that. Google sees exactly what is pointing to your website. Now what happens with that, you can do it for a few months and you can practically do it for even a few more months after that. But once Google picks up on that, and Google will, it will penalize the website. Yeah, it'll either penalize the website to the point where it drops off searches, or it will reduce rankings. It'll basically register it as not so reliable, so you're going to go lower in rankings, which is where ethical white hat SEO is super important.
And what's the difference between a tag and a keyword?
Tag is part of the code.
Right.
It's what? Sorry, part of what?
Part of the coding of the website.
Okay, yeah. We don't have to do anything about that?
Meta descriptions, title tags, yes. Everything else, not as much. I would say as a business owner, I'd get them to focus more on the content that's going on the page. And the meta description and title tag have to be relevant to what's on the page as well. Those are the two things that you need to remember from an SEO weighting perspective.
Okay. And is there any recommended number of those that we have to have on a page or something like that, like meta descriptions and title tags, or not?
So there's only one title tag per page, one meta description per page, and one H1 tag per page, no matter what Google says. Okay, right. Someone from Google actually said you can have multiple H1s, and we're like, no, we've tested this, but you shouldn't. And with those, there are limits of characters. So title tag should be less than 70 characters. Meta description should be less than 158 characters. Now, the reason why it's less than those characters is when you do a Google search, what appears first, the only things that appear is the title tag. There's a link underneath it, and then there's a little blurb about the website. That's the meta description. And the reason why it's within those character limits is so that you don't get that little 3 dots at the very end. And it's more of a click-through encouragement tactic. So if someone sees triple dots, there's that you're omitting the chances of actually speaking correctly about the website and having the right amount of keywords in there as well. Got it. Okay, I understand that. Anna's got another question. How does the size of content relate to web pages? Sorry again? Say it again. So how does the size of content relate to web pages? Size, I'm going to say in terms of word count. Right. It's again a reliability issue from Google's perspective. So how much information are you willing to provide to your users, and how comprehensive can you get in that matter? So it's always going to come down to, from a content perspective, a couple of things to remember is have a target keyword ready, because you're not going to write about just anything. And because you're within that industry, you should be able to write comprehensively about what you know. Absolutely. Exactly. So how do people understand what their keywords are? Is there a website that you go to for that? Again, the one thing that we use here a lot of is SEMrush. But if that's something that a small business is not willing to pay for, there's another tool called Keywords Everywhere. It has recently gone paid, but it's still pretty affordable. So it was free up until a week ago, and it's gone paid to, I think, about $10 per 100,000 keywords, which is still pretty incredible. It gives you the search volume. It gives you cost per click, which is Google AdWords related metric, and it gives you competition level. Now, what you're going to be looking for is search volume when you get that. It's a Chrome extension, and it's called Keywords Everywhere. KeywordsEverywhere.com? It's just Keywords Everywhere. Google it, and it'll and actually Google Keywords Everywhere Chrome extension. Okay. And wow, we've had a lot of really good tips here today, haven't we, Phil? Have you got pages of notes?
I have, and it's even going back a bit to the RoB Academy in some spots too, because Nafisa says she's got a couple of people that come in that can only find time to blog once a month. I think they should go to Referrals Over Breakfast, look up the past episode with Nellie about time management, and then they can they might be able to get some tips in there. So. Oh yeah, awesome. But we've also got a couple of videos in there around, you know, what you should be looking for around how to create your websites as well. And it gives you a few tips, but it doesn't go directly into the SEO, because it's really it's quite
specialist. And as we've been hearing from Nafisa today, you know, you've really been able to put this into, you know, everyone's language rather than, you know, talking jargon, which is really important because, you know, as you know, small businesses, they don't have a lot of time and there's not a lot of spare cash flow to spend on things. And what they do want to spend on their marketing and advertising, they want a result for. So, you know, it's important that if they can do some things themselves to help the process, speed it up, obviously that would be something that, you know, is attractive to them. Yeah. So I know we only have another couple of minutes left. I just thought we might wrap up, you know, maybe in a minute. Nafisa, if you can just wrap up what you told us, and then we could go on to what's going to be happening next week on the drive home.
Lovely. So small and medium businesses, remember these things. Google is trying to be the best search engine in the world, so it'll only give the best information to its users. Try to make your content comprehensive. Make sure your website is clean and reliable. So these two things will always go hand in hand, and do not invest in black hat tactics or acquiring backlinks. Make sure you go get an SSL certificate, which is basically going to secure your website and make it possible for users to actually access your website. Google will actually warn users not to go into a non-secure website. Blog every fortnight if you can. If you can't, please try to blog every month and try to put it in your calendar on a weekly basis. So in 1 week, you're just going to write 200 words. In another week, you're going to write 200 words. And ultimately, you're going to get to that stage where in 1 month, you have 1 blog post. You're probably the only one that can write about your industry as comprehensively as possible if you're in your industry. Keywords Everywhere is an amazing tool to use if you want to come up with target keywords. And one more thing we didn't get to touch up on, but this is going to be a very quick tip. Utilize your Google My Business listing.
Okay, utilize the Google My Business listing. And we are right on 6 o'clock. We're at the top of the hour. Nafisa, I just want to thank you so much for all your knowledge, your expertise, and sharing everything with us. It's great. You really do know your stuff, and so I want to thank you so much. Remember, if you want to chat with Nafisa and ask her anything about SEO, it's nafisa@studiohawk.com. And I also want to thank all the attendees on today's drive home. I know we've got some regulars that come on board now, which is really great because Phil and I don't really like talking to ourselves, do we?
No.
Although we can find a lot to talk about. And next week we have coming up, we have Virginia Jacobs from Wine Taste Talk. So we're going to be going from SEO to wine tasting, which is awesome. Virginia is going to just be doing a wine tasting that afternoon, but she promises me she's not going to drink too much before she gets on, but she's going to be giving us, you know, some tips and what she does and how to create great culture in your workplace through some wine tasting. She's got some great ideas around that as well.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you, Nafisa. I want to thank you, Phil, once again. You are an amazing person, a business coach who actually has a wealth of knowledge there, and thank you for contributing to us today. Thank you, Chris. So he's on his way home from Ballarat, and thank you, everyone, being on the call. It's been great. It's Glenis Gassmann from More Customers, More Profits, and we have business breakthrough strategies for you to grow your business. It's over and out for me now, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Phil's actually taken over from me next week, aren't you, Phil?
Just keeping the seat warm, Glenis.
I know, good on you. I'll be flying somewhere, so it's all right. I'll think of you. Okay, everyone, have a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you guys.